Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Rewired Parent. So last week, you remember, we went deep and we dismantled this quote-unquote lazy child myth and uncovered the real neurological reasons why homework, nightly homework, can feel like a battleground. And so the big reframe was this: it's not a battle of wheels, it's a battle of wiring. And the response from you, the Spark Squad, has been incredible. And the number one question that I've gotten in response was, okay, I get that part now, but what do I actually do? Let me tell you, I hear you. It's not just about theory, it's about practice. And so understanding the why, of course, is the first step, but it doesn't stop the homework meltdown that's brewing at the kitchen table, the one that you probably are anticipating or the one that you've already had today. And so for that, you need some tools. So I'm going to fill your toolbox today, give you 5 of my favorite, very unconventional, I call them study spells, magic. You know, it's not really magic, it's brain science, but have some fun with me because I'm calling them spells, not because you're putting your child under some kind of weird trance or something, but because they work and they really are based on neuroscience magic, right? And so these are simple, powerful brain resets that are designed to work with your neurodivergent child's brain and not to work against it. So you're going to leave here with at least one new thing that you can try. And what I'm going to say is this before we start. There's a quick ground rule, and that is the goal of these resets is not to somehow magically change your child's mind and make them love doing homework. Most kids are never going to love doing homework unless they were like me. I loved doing homework, but that's another story for another time. But the goal is to what? Lower the resistance. We want to calm and settle the nervous system and make the task at least doable. And we're aiming here for cooperation, not perfection, not coercion. We're looking here for cooperation. We're also looking for connection, compassion, and co-regulation. Our 3 big C's here at the Rewired Parent. So, also, let me just say this real quick, that not every one of these things I'm going to share with you works for every child. You know your child better than anyone. So, for example, the first one we're going to talk about with the Pomodoro sprint and talking about timers, I'll tell you, some kids freak out and become very anxious and will melt down if you even talk about a timer, while others need that to help set boundaries and help them get productive work done. So again, you know your kid best. There is no one size fits all to any of this, but I just wanted to get you thinking a line of things that have worked for neurodivergent students, and hopefully some of these will be beneficial for you. And if not, let me know and I will try to suggest some more for you. So the first, as I said, is the Pomodoro sprint. Pomodoro is the Italian word for tomato, which is weird. Why? Because it goes back to those tomato-shaped timers that were in kitchens. And this is a productivity technique that is used in, Fortune 500 companies, but it does work well for especially ADHD brains because instead of facing this giant intimidating task, let's say it's 30 homework problems they have to do. And by the way, and I'm saying this as a teacher, if your child's teacher is sending home 30 problems to work on at home, you need to have a discussion with them because if they're elementary, practice is good, but they don't need that much practice, right? They should be reading every day to you, something they love and enjoy, if they need to practice some skills. But ultimately, even if it was 5 problems, it may seem like this giant intimidating task. So what are you going to do? You're going to break it down into tiny time sprints. Okay, we're going to chunk it. We don't have to get it all done. Because the enemy of any neurodivergent brain, even mine, is this feeling of forever. And your kids will probably, this is going to take forever. If you said that, then hit the like button, right? So you're looking at it as an adult saying this worksheet should be like 10 minutes, but to them, 10 minutes is like 10 years. And so it's endless, it's boring. And so what the Pomodoro sprint does is it might help kill the idea forever. So here's how you do it. You take out a visual timer, and it needs to be a visual one where they can see the time disappearing. So you can use your phone. You can get an actual timer. We used to have this cool like timer that would change from green to yellow to red to give them an idea. Doesn't matter, whatever works. Again, if they become extremely anxious with the timer, you can say, we're just going to do 3 problems right now. So whatever works there, but you're chunking it. So you can say something like, oh, okay, we're going to do this math sprint. We're going to work for just 10 minutes. Maybe they can only handle 5 it now, but whatever it is. So as hard as you can for 10 minutes. And when that timer goes off, you get a 5-minute break to do whatever you want. You can run around, grab a snack, tell me a joke. Then we'll do another sprint. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I give them that 5 minutes, okay, it's going to turn into 10 and it's going to turn into negotiations again. So we talked about this before. I'll say it again. Remember, you are Bob Ross meets Chef Gordon Ramsay. So you have to set the parameters. You have to set the guidelines and the boundaries. And what's better is notice here, if during the break, you can do something that builds connection. But it gives a neurodivergent brain this clear finish line. It makes things feel manageable, provides a predictable outcome, a break, which is a nice little dopamine push as well. And so that's the first one. The second one is the anchor of the body double. So if you've been around ADHD stuff lately, posts and that, you'll see the word body double. And sometimes I wish I had, a doppelganger or a twin, because I could probably get twice as much done, but then I'd probably want another one. But anyways, this is probably one of the strangest but simplest and most powerful resets in the toolbox, because really you don't have to do anything. It doesn't require much from you. So what body doubling is simply the act of being physically present while your child does a task. You're not helping, you're not nagging, you're not even looking over their shoulder, you're just there. It's your presence, okay? And that brings a lot of comfort. You could be paying the bills at the same table, folding laundry nearby, reading a book, but listen, your calm, quiet presence will act as that external anchor for their wandering focus. And it's actually a neurological based phenomenon, because we talk about co-regulation. Your regulated nervous system will help them to co-regulate theirs. They'll create that sense of safety and focus that they struggle to generate on their own. So it's just being there, and knowing that you are available if they need it. The third one is the dopamine game. So we talked about this interest fuel engine last week. Well, gamification is how we can artificially inject that fuel. So we have to make the task a little more interesting than the boring worksheet itself. So you could use beat the clock, which again, I'd be careful with, but some kids just thrive after, they want to show you, I can do this. And, these 5 problems in 2 seconds. Again, if it's going to stress them out, don't do that one. Then you could do maybe like Lego tower, where when they write something or they do a little part, they can add one piece to this tower you're building. So that way they get to see like you're actually making progress, because a lot of the students I work with at school never feel like they're learning anything, but they really are. So visually and tactile ways in which they can see they're making progress works. You can do driveway chalk math. You can do spelling words in a sand tray outside, of course. What we used to do with spelling words, and my kids loved it, and it really helped them, is that we would spell the words together and we would toss a ball back and forth to each other. And my wife came up with this idea one day, and she's like, well, what if we just, when we spell the words, we say the letter, we toss it, they catch it, they say it, they pass it back, so on and so forth. And really, that was fun. I mean, it was just fun and engaging. And the more senses, the multi-sensory part of this, the more senses you get involved in them doing their work and their learning. So, again, you can do spelling words with those magnetic refrigerator letters. I mean, there's so much fun. And the thing is that think about it in terms of what really interests and excites your child. So this isn't bribery. Bribery is if you do this, you'll get a reward later. Right? It's an if then. If you do this, then I will do that. No, this is about making the task itself more rewarding in the moment and helping them start to see that, we always say as adults, the task well done is the reward. Well, if you're a neurodivergent brain, or any kid for that matter, they don't believe you. So you can make it fun. In fact, we learn a lot more when we play and have fun than we do if we're just sitting there being, forced under the bright light to do the homework sheet. Number 4, tap into the power of novelty. Again, some kids thrive in the routine, but it can get boring. And so you can mix it up a little bit, right? You can do the homework in the blanket fort with a flashlight. You can have some special color pens or smelly markers or something, which is only to be used for homework. Again, you can practice, just mix it up. Have some fun, right? Mix it up. Have some fun. Don't keep the same old boring rut routine. Nobody likes that. And then the 5th thing is the brain dump. So a lot of times our kids can't start their homework because their brain is like your Chrome browser or Firefox browser or whatever you use, Microsoft Edge, doesn't matter, with 50 tabs open. I've walked into my colleagues' classrooms and they want to show me something on the screen to help them with, and I see like 100 tabs open. I'm like, how in the world do you function like this? Like their mental RAM, our kids' mental RAM, that random access memory, it's full. So what the brain dump does is it gives a 2-minute reset to clear the cache, so to speak, right? To free up some memory. So even before you open the book, you can say, okay, before we start, we can take a piece of paper, blank piece of paper, and tell me everything that is going on in your head right now. Worries, ideas, things you need to remember. Just get it out on paper. If they don't want to write, they can draw it. If they don't want to draw it, they can just tell you. But the point is that getting that stuff out of their brain and getting it out without judgment tells their nervous system, I see all the stuff you're holding on to, and we can set it down for a minute. It's probably good for us as adults to do that as well. Just kind of dump it all out, get it all out there, because we hold on to so much stuff, and the more our kids hold on to, the harder it's going to be to do the homework. So you have, again, the Pomodoro sprint, the body double, the dopamine game, the power of novelty, the brain dump, 5 tools there for your toolbox. You call them spells if you like. And it's not about trying harder. So the theme here is that none of this is about forcing your child to try harder. You would get it done if you would just try harder, or if you would just stop messing around. The old playbook is about applying more force, more compliance, more coercion. But our rewired playbook is about finding more fuel. It's about working with those beautiful, powerful race car brains we talked about in one of the posts, not punish them for being that minivan, right? So your action step, for not being a minivan, I should say. So your action step for this week is simple. Pick one. Don't try them all out at once, and don't keep switching it around. Pick one and try it out for a few days, okay? Think of the one that sounds the most fun, or maybe the easiest to try, maybe the one where you would not get you get the least pushback, let's put it that way. And so when you find it, come find me on social media at Dr. David A. Palmer, and you can do hashtag Spark Squad and tell us all how it went. And to make this easier, I'm going to put together a 1-page printable cheat sheet that you'll be able to get in the next day or two. So make sure you're on social media or going to look around a little bit there, because you'll see it pop up. And whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, you can find it, and you'll be able to grab it. And then I'll also put it up on my Substack at drdavidapalmer.substack.com. So next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the emotional side of all of this. Like, what happens when the homework fight escalates into that full-on meltdown? And then so we're going to talk about the homework rage, which in my home we had quite a bit of. And then we're going to teach you how to co-regulate when things get heated like that. So until then, be a brain ally, not a homework enforcer. You got this, and see you next time on The Rewired Parent.